Hi, my name is K.Noe, and I'm doing a response to the mental health section of the discussion. When it says to ask how does culture influence mental health, there are so many different ways that influences mental health. I think it has a huge cultural impact. Um, in the book, I read that many people, all different cultures, agree that what mental health disorders are, and what the definition is. It's all universal, but the prevalence of the disorder and how they treat the disorder is a lot differently from the different cultures. So, in the book, they talked about in childhood ADHD. The United Kingdom and the U.S., like I said, have a universal definition of what ADHD is, but they mentioned that in the United Kingdom, there are different things that they consider to be appropriate, where in the United States it's not considered appropriate at all, and vice versa. So I think because of this, there's things that in our culture we would say, oh, that's someone who has ADHD, but in the United Kingdom, they would say, no, that's appropriate in our culture, and things like that. Also, I think that when it influences mental health, I think anorexia has a huge impact on that. Um, the In the book, they talked about a lot about how people cope with their depression or their anxiety by how they look and having an obsession with how they look. And it's definitely in the book. It also mentioned how it's more prevalent in the European, North American, and Australian cultures, when in the Asian, Middle Eastern, South American, and African cultures is not as prevalent, because it's good to see weight on an individual, because it shows wealth and how they can afford to eat. It was actually interesting because about a month ago, my roommate showed me this picture of this girl on Instagram that it was just like on her Explorer or whatever, and uh, that she posted this picture of her in a bathing suit, and all my roommates looked at her and looked at the picture, and it looked like she had anorexia. She was so thin, skin and bones, like you could see her collarbone, just very unhealthy. Um, so me being the person I am, I commented and kind of just gave her a heads up, like, make sure you're eating healthy and you're doing okay and you're doing, what you're supposed to be doing and things like that. And she got very, very defensive. Um, and a lot of other people started saying the same thing, but I think in her mind, because of our culture and how in general our society handles and deals with people who are thinner and more fitter, even though she doesn't look fit, she feels herself that she's fit because of what the other society, or what our society views her as. So I think that has a huge impact, and I think that in another culture, let's say in the Middle East, if that happened, people would kind of look at her in a completely different way, more that she was, why aren't you eating? You need to eat. You have those resources available to you. You want to show people that you are healthy and that you can eat to make yourself look like you have that food. So I think that's definitely something that is different in mental health, especially just because of how society views um, anorexia, as just an example. So that's my discussion for today, and I look forward to seeing what people say. Thanks.